Welcome to the Artist Animation Guide Part 1 in English. In this video, we're gonna talk about interpolation and some ways and some techniques that you can use to copy an animation range from some part in your timeline to another one. So let's do it. Artista is a frame-to-frame animator software. It means that everything you do with this arrow in this frame will be here in this frame. Everything you do with this arrow will be here in this frame, and the same for this frame, and so on forever. So until now we got this. Every little change that I did in each frame will be in each frame that I did the change, right? This is nice. Is the way that 2D traditional animation works, but Artista is a vector software. It means that we can take advantage of some features like interpolation. So the first thing we have to do is to clear what we recorded now, because Artista is always recording what you do in each frame. For example, if I go here in this frame, this green area, I don't know exactly if it's green because I'm colorblind, but you can see that Artista recorded until the frame 20. So I wanted to clear this from this position to the end, or reset from this position to the end, or tell Artista that I want this arrow exactly how it is from this frame to the end. For this, we can go here in this panel, in the animation panel, press this button, right? Or I can press F8 on the keyboard, right? So click here, and you can see that the green area is just here. So I will make this arrow hit the heart. And for this, we're gonna use interpolation. So I create a keyframe here. Set keyframe, or we can press Ctrl F2. Oh, sorry. Set keyframe, right? And you don't have to worry about keyframes. Keyframes in Artista are just a mark to tell Artista how interpolation will behave. The keyframes in Artista are the pose frames, right? So I go a little bit here. It's nice. I move this arrow to here, and I will create another keyframe here. Now we have this, the first keyframe here and the last keyframe here. Now it's very important that you must select the object or the points that you want to interpolate to. In the moment that we press F2, or you can go here in this menu, Artista will interpolate the selected points between the keyframes that you have in timeline or that you have in timeline selection. So let's do it. F2, and now we have this. The arrow is interpolated from this keyframe to this keyframe. Well, nice shortcut, keyboard shortcut we have is Ctrl Left and Ctrl Right. It will make Artista walks between the keyframes and not only every frame in timeline. So as I am doing here right now, like this, it's nice because it will gives you an animation perspective over the keyframes only, so you can see how it sounds, how it's sounding. And so now let's make this heart feel a little bit more when this arrow hit it, right? So at this keyframe we have this arrow here. At this keyframe, a little bit here, I will create another keyframe. At this frame, I will create another keyframe, and I will put this arrow a little bit more to the inner side, and at this keyframe the arrow will go back, right? What we're going to do now is go back to this keyframe, select these 2 points, one point from this heart shape and another point from the heart, brush that is rendering this shadow and put here next to the arrow like this. And now we have to select all these points, also the hard point and the brush point, and all these points too, and we will interpolate. So now we have this. Let's see our full animation right now. Right? It's not fancy, but I know that you are getting the idea. You are getting the full idea right now. You can see that I can interpolate at the same time, not only full objects, but also just a single points from different objects together or alone. So let's continue our animation. What I will do now is to make some movements right here in the tail, in this arrow tail. Like in real life, there's a bit here and a little bit head there, and this is what I will do now. So I will first I clear the keyframes. Our animation is still there. Keyframes are just simple marks, and at the moment the arrow hit hard here, I will create a keyframe here, and at this position I create another keyframe, and I will rotate only the tail. At this frame I rotate to here, then and at this keyframe like this, and I will interpolate with only this point selected. So you got this. Let's see how our animation is right now. Now, in the moment that this arrow hit hard, we will draw some crash and animate this crash inside the heart. So clear the keyframes. This is the moment where the crash will appears, and see that I mark a keyframe, and let's draw the crash. Something like this. I will put a little bit here, something like this, right? As I draw this crash in this keyframe, it is not visible from in the back keyframes. As you can see here, it appears only at the moment in the timeline that we draw it. So let me do this a little bit smaller, like this. Yes, it's good. And let's continue. At this frame, I will create another keyframe. I will put the crash here. Crash will follow the heart shape here. Ctrl F2 to create a keyframe for create. And at this keyframe, I will make this crash a little bigger. Roll this crash. So I select all the shape and press F2, and we got this. Let's see the full animation. So the things are get more interesting right now. Now let's suppose that we want to duplicate this arrow. It put the copy of this arrow in another position. So we have to make changes that are valid in a range of your timeline. That's we're gonna to do right now. So I select the arrow in the crash, right? Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I will clear the keyframes, and we have this animation until now. Animation the animation duration is until here. So I will select this range, and what I will do now is change the tool, the working mode that I am using. I'm using the full working mode, that is selection. I will change for this one. This is the keyframe tool. And the keyframe tool, when you are using the keyframe tool, every little change that you do will be valid, will be applied to your timeline range. You see. Remember, I did a Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and now I change to this mode, and I am moving the arrow in the crash to here, and I will rotate a little bit. So we got this. Why we got this? Because I changed to the keyframe tool, and the keyframe tool applies the same change, the movement and rotation that I did right now in the entire timeline range. So we got this. Now we're gonna do some changes in our animation. You can see that oh, sorry, there is something missing. This hard hit, and okay, here I have to select this crash, the arrow, and press F8. Let me see. Yes, now it's right. Now we have this. I wanted to make this arrow and this crash appears not from the beginning of timeline, because as we did a Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and only we changed the rotation in the position, these two arrows appears at the same time. So we're gonna change it. What we do is we select the arrow, the crash, right? We select the moment in the timeline, the range of animation, like this. And what we're gonna do now is hold Shift, hold Alt, and now we're gonna move this entire range. Instead begins here, start here, we'll start a little bit here, and voila, we got this. Right? We can do different. We can select this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, switch to the keyframe tool, move to here, rotate like this, and we got this. Right? But again, this arrow is at the same time of this arrow. We can change it like this. I select a time range like this in timeline, and hold Shift and Alt, and I will move a little bit further, and we have this. Now let's continue doing it. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Keyframe tool is already set. Rotate a little bit like this. These two arrows are in the same time, so I select a time range in timeline, and I will move further. So we have this. So I know at this time you already have some ideas of what you can do with all this. This is the Artist Animation Guide Part 1, and I see you in Part 2. Bye bye.